We wake up, go to work, seek out comfort, and look for affection. Our daily existence operates on a massive, mechanical loop, built entirely around the constant pursuit of our next goal. When we finally achieve one of those goals, we experience a rush of satisfaction. We frequently mislabel that fleeting sensation as happiness. True happiness is an elevated, serene state of consciousness. It exists apart from pleasure, a temporary sensory sensation entirely tied to the ego. Modern life chases a mirage. We spend our years pursuing a temporary physical and psychological sensation that keeps our consciousness deeply asleep. The psychological ego, the entity we call the I, operates through a specific, relentless demand for pleasure. Think of a dog begging its master for a scrap of food, totally abandoning its autonomy for a tiny treat. We replicate that same dynamic inside our own minds, abandoning our center for brief hits of satisfaction. We become absolute slaves to our own cravings. We react automatically to external triggers, rendering total obedience to the pursuit of the next hit. The frantic pacing, the deep anxiety, and the intense physical tension we feel during this chase are incredibly powerful. We often misinterpret that nervous energy as the feeling of being alive. We exist in a state of total psychological submission to an invisible master living inside us. The human machine operates through specific centers: intellectual, emotional, motor, and instinctive. The ego hides within every single one of them to extract its food. In the intellectual center, this manifests as a mental addiction. We relentlessly consume useless information and replay past memories just to feel a cognitive buzz. In the emotional center, we experience a flood of dopamine through the manic rush of false romance or the need for external validation. The ego extracts perverse pleasure from negative emotions. We savor our sadness, anger, and desire for revenge, turning pain into a comfortable habit. It infects our motor and instinctive centers through mindless actions. We frequently eat not for nourishment, but simply to experience the sensation of chewing and swallowing. Whether society labels these behaviors as good, bad, or neutral, every one of these automated actions serves exactly one purpose: to feed the ego. Our entire human mind and body have been systematically rewired. We are operating as an energy food source for the I. Modern culture tells us that triggering hormonal hits is the ultimate marker of a successful life. This feedback loop shows how the I functions. Each hit of satisfaction temporarily quiets the ego, only to return demanding a higher dose. As the cycle accelerates and fractures, it acts as a destructive force, actively deteriorating the body and psyche. The energy we exhaust on sensory highs is the exact fuel required to awaken internal senses. When spent on animalistic pleasure, we lose the very substance needed to experience a higher reality. Dedicating your entire life to the relentless pursuit of pleasure guarantees a path toward premature exhaustion and deep spiritual decay. Breaking this cycle requires a radical solution: psychological death. We must actively eliminate these parasitic desires. The intellect immediately recoils at this. It builds a defensive fear, convincing us that eliminating pleasure will leave us empty or robotic. This fear is based on ignorance. Because the ego only understands transactional desires, it cannot comprehend a state of existence outside of its own feeding loop. Genuine vitality doesn't end when the ego is starved. True life begins in the exact moment that this artificial parasitic life is extinguished. This practice happens in the mundane moments of every day. We consciously observe our desires as they arise and actively choose not to feed them. The result is immediate. The intense psychological tension we carry unwinds, stopping the daily leak of our vital energy. Silencing the chaotic noise of animalistic pleasure finally makes room for something else. It allows the higher vibrations of the true self to emerge. By refusing to feed the machine of pleasure, we stop the internal leak, trading a life of mechanical exhaustion for a state of quiet, lasting stability.